Hails! I'm Arnat. Welcome back. If you have not watched or heard about me, I would suggest you to check the introduction video for this series and also the first episode. It's about allied races. But to tell what this is all about, and as a summarized disclaimer, simply I will talk a lot about World of Warcraft related things and how would I do them if I was given the chance as a long-time World of Warcraft player and a gamer. With all good intent of constructive feedback, of course, not as a fix, and it's very important to note this here. I'm never ever saying this is how it should be. These are not general judgments, and I'm not speaking for the whole community or anything. All personal ideas from the top of my head. And that's why I'm only saying this is how I would do it. And in that theme, I'm just giving some alternative ideas to make the stuff we all love for years a tiny bit better. I have notes for upcoming episodes already planned, but I'm also open for ideas too. So don't hesitate to send me your suggestions to talk about. After all, we are still supporting positive feedback here together, right? With that as a starting note, I have said this at the ending of my first episode, but since most people don't reach the ending, I'll say this from the start this time. Thanks a lot to all of the Warcraft devs on every department who brought us this game and give us this spark that make us think about and work on all these fan arts, concepts, content, and personally me to talk this much. A very sincere, heartfelt love, big hugs, and kisses to all of the extremely talented Warcraft devs for all of their hard work. You all rock, keep it up. As a final starting note, apologies, I'm sorry that first episode was almost 2 hours long. I improvised a lot of the talk and had to transcribe almost half of the subtitles, and it took quite long. So I will stay on script and try to cut this short this time. I'm still a video noob, will manage, believe in your friend and cross fingers. Also, since 9.1 is coming, this Covenants episode came right at its time, but no worries, I have kept progressing content in mind, so I will somewhat also address how I would think my version should continue too. So, right before 9.1, and with that all said ahead of everything, now we can start our second episode. How would I do the Covenants? First of all, let's shortly explain what really are the Covenants. Here again we will get help from good old Wowpedia, because they have summarized it perfectly as always. Covenants are ancient and powerful orders who rule over the different realms of the Shadowlands. They have existed since the Shadowlands were shaped long ago and bear sacred duties to help maintain the Afterlife's ecosystem. To achieve their goals within the Shadowlands, players will work hand in hand with these covenants and eventually align themselves with one. There are 4 major covenants players will encounter. The Kyrian of Bastion, angelic beings who embrace humility and service to their order, led by Kairestia the Firstborn, the Archon. The Necrolords of Maldraxxus, liches, warlords, and spies who make up the army that defends the Shadowlands, led by the Primus. The Night Fae of Ardenveld, guardians of nature who shepherd beings through the cycle of life and death, led by the Winter Queen. And the Vantir of Revendreth, vampiric beings who punish the sinful souls sent by the Arbiter in order to rehabilitate them, led by Sire Denatrius. When players reach maximum level and have explored the first four zones, they'll be able to pledge themselves to a covenant. Each covenant offers its champions abilities based on their choice, including class-specific abilities for each covenant and cosmetic rewards that can be unlocked through a covenant campaign, an epic storyline unique to the faction, and other activities over time. This alliance also gives the player access to a Covenant Sanctum, a city only open to players who have forged a pact with its rulers, very similar to the class order halls of Legion. As Wopedia says here too, originally the plan was make it to be possible to switch covenants, but the price to switch would be costly. In a later interview, Ion Hazikostas shared that it would be easy to switch to a new covenant, but not easy to return to one that had already been left. And that's one of the most debated subjects about covenants. Since one of the general themes of Shadowlands is choices matter, Warcraft devs wanted us to consider carefully when choosing a covenant, and so it would somewhat feel like a class choice for your character. And that's why they didn't want that switch to be that easy, like we change talents or specs. At this point, let's summarize the lore and history of the Covenants. Before the Shadowlands expansion, each Covenant governed over specific zones of the Shadowlands, helping them find a purpose in that. However, because of the constant wars in Azeroth and Sylvanas' machinations, the MoW is stripping all other Shadowlands zones out of Anima, the life force responsible to maintain order within the Shadowlands. As such, the different covenants are starved for energy and will need to help to regain their former glory. And that's why, as heroes, we help them gather anima. Also, when you join a covenant, you'll be able to undergo an ancient rite to bind your soul to some of its most powerful members. By doing so, your character harnesses their power, gaining access to powerful bonuses. Over time, you can unlock new tiers of power and even switch soulbinds when strategy demands it. See, these soulbinds are our followers in Shadowlands, and we can choose those powerful bonuses from 3 of them by unlocking their own talent trees and attaching conduit items to that talent tree. We can send both these soulbinds and other followers to missions from mission table 2. Finally, if you choose to join a covenant, you'll gain 2 abilities tailored to the theme of that covenant. The first of these is the Covenant's signature ability, which is available to all Covenant members regardless of class, race, or spec. The second of these abilities is specific to your class and gives you a new spell or power to use in combat. When leveling your character in Shadowlands, you are introduced to both Covenant zones and these Covenant abilities. During questing, in each Covenant zone, you will be able to try all 4 Covenant's signature ability and your class's ability in turns. Finally, when you reach 60 and choose a Covenant, then 2 of those abilities from Covenant you have chosen remain, and the rest are gone forever, unless you switch Covenants. Again, thanks to Wopedia, we have a very nice chart here showing every Covenant ability. If you have been playing, you probably know most of these, If not, I will drop the link of this page so you can examine them yourself. But as an example, if you choose to be a Kyrian with a Death Knight, you will get Summon Steward. And as your signature ability, like all classes who have chosen Kyrian, you will get this. And with a 5-minute cooldown, this ability calls your personal steward, old-like, ultra-cute creature. When arrived, steward will give you 3 Phial of Serenity, a potion. When consumed, it restores 15% health and removes all curse, disease, poison and bleed effects. Additionally, your steward will offer you some extra services like being a temporary vendor or allowing you to change your talents and also some other fun abilities. And as a Kyrian Death Knight, you will have Shackle the Unworthy as your class ability. With a 1-minute cooldown, you will be able to apply a 14-second long debuffing damage over time on your target that will also reduce the damage they deal to you by 8%. And there are 4 by 12 of these, as you see, for all classes, from all covenants, according to your choice. As I said, dropping the link in the description if you want to check all of these abilities. So that's the summary, and this is what the covenants are in its current situation in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Now we come to my part. According to the theme of this series, if it was up to me, how would I do the covenants? First of all, what is my aim with this project? 1. To make covenants more attractive and fun, so players would invest in their epic covenant stories a lot more. 2. To make the choice more free and open, not limiting, but motivating, so players can create their own personal covenant identity and own it with pride, not as a useful tool or a best in slot mechanic, but more like our Warcraft factions. Because after all, choices do matter, but not that much, really. That's why covenants should basically be a storytelling element and not define your player power. The system should be built on motivating you into being a part of their story, and only real technical difference between covenants should be their cosmetic rewards, armor and weapon appearances, titles, mounts, etc. How will we do that? According to this main idea, here is the big picture I'm presenting. Covenant class system, Valorous Anima system, Covenant armor and weapon system enhancements, reputable renown system, open world connection enhancements, and Covenant related matters. I'm not getting into details in this chart, so instead let's start explaining the ideas one by one. First one is Covenant class system. Yes, choices matter, but before the usual order of Shadowlands was working as intended, it didn't. Arbiter was sorting souls and did not care about any choice at all. Ironically, as heroes, that is the machine of death in Shadowlands we are trying to save. And that theme will be our starting point in my version of Covenants 2. In my version, leveling progression will remain mostly same, as it is, on live. But We will just do the introduction scenario to start our Shadowlands experience once with our first character. Others will be optional because when we finish the introduction scenario, we will be awarded with the account-wide title Maw Walker. It will look something like this. After we get this, if we enable this title with our Alt 2 and then interact with the first NPC who will send us to the introduction scenario, as a Maw Walker, there will be a second dialogue option saying, "Oh, you are a Maw Walker already, so you can bypass the Maw and start helping Shadowlands right away." And if we choose that, we will skip the Maw introduction scenario and we won't bother with the whole ordeal again, including Thrall's weapon. But for some reason, if we want to play it again, we may go with the first option as usual. The choice will be up to you. When we arrive at Oribos, however we want, if it's the first time, as how it is now, we will quest through all zones on a linear path, learn about all four covenants, test and see their abilities with our characters. Or, if we are with an alt, we will have the Threads of Fate option, again, as how it is on live now. But again, in my version, when we reach level 60, things will really be different. As we all know now, the Arbiter is inactive and cannot sort any soul, but her servants will recognize our pattern. While leveling, the things we do and how we do it will make them show our next step. We will be assigned to our covenants according to our class identity. Yes, if you are a paladin, priest or monk, you will become a member of the Kyrian Covenant in Bastion, because your way of doing things will be recognized as same as the previous devout and self-sacrificing mortals. If you are a druid, hunter or shaman, you will be assigned to the Night Fae Covenant of Ardenveld, because your connection with nature and spirituality will be recognized as such. If you are a Death Knight, warrior or rogue, you will be assigned as a potential lich, fighter or spy in the Necrolord Covenant to become a member of the Shadowlands army, just like the previous mortal souls like you did before. And finally, if you are a warlock, demon hunter or mage, you will be assigned in the Ventir Covenant of Revendreth, since your methods will fit with the ways of the previous mortals who were fit to punish the sinful souls to rehabilitate them. Now, it may seem like we are removing the choice, but we're not. We just give it a thematic starting point. Your covenant will just originally fit with your character's class identity, and that's all. Because let's face it, a warlock or a death knight waving their hands walking into Kyrian Covenant's headquarters as one of them and soul binding with angelic figures looks and sounds quite illogical and out of its fantasy. So in my version, at least for the first time, we will have it this way and be forwarded accordingly, like how Arbiter would do. Of course, after your first character, you will still be free to choose any covenant like how it is in game, either with the Threads of Fate system or after ending the storyline again with an alt. Because Threads is an awesome method there and now. That is the choice we all want. In my version 2, basically, after learning what is what with first hand experience, then we will be ready to choose our covenant freely. Additionally, in my version, we will use this perfection and enhance the threads of fate system to the covenant switching. This is how we can do it. After you choose your covenant with your first character, you will just have to finish your covenant campaign only once. Then this will open the door for you to help any second covenant you want. So on paper and lore wise, you will still be a member of the first covenant you choose, but technically and to help, you can now join second, third and fourth covenants. Not at the same time, but in turns. So think it like this. You are a Ventier. You complete your covenant campaign. Now the choice is up to you. You can go talk with, let's say, the Kyrian emissary, and they will give you the option to help them too. After you accept the help, this second covenant, you will now earn your reputable renown for them, and you will be able to progress through their covenant campaign. Whenever you want, you can either talk with other covenants to switch to their campaigns and earn reputable renown with them, or you can stay and finish those one by one. No cooldowns, no cost. Only thing is, your first chosen covenant will always be your main. Again, only on paper and lore-wise. No repercussions whatsoever. You will earn all rewards, appearances, titles from the other covenants you have helped too. This way, by only playing with one character, you will be able to unlock all possible cosmetic armors and weapons, and in the end, get all 4 covenant titles. And overall, just because of armor class, you will just need 4 characters for cloth, leather, mail and plate instead of 16 different characters to unlock all related armor appearances. For weapons, even easier. Just go with a hunter or warrior. You will unlock practically everything for everyone. Remember, we had switched warglaives into one-handed sword category in our allied races episode, so in my versions that one is covered too. But if we do all this, what will we do with the covenant abilities? No worries, your friend Arnott had also thought of that too. After reaching level 60, or after choosing Threads of Fate, you will now be able to choose and use any of the 2 covenant abilities you want. 1 covenant ability, 1 class ability, from whichever covenant you want, mix and matchable. So, this means you may choose Necrolord covenant ability combined with Ventier class ability. After completing leveling experience, this will be unlocked with its own introduction quest in Oribos, and that quest will show us how we can mix and match from all of the abilities we have learned through our journeys in Shadowlands. Once unlocked like that, later this combo can be chosen from either the Covenant NPCs at Oribos or in rested areas from your Covenant tab, like talents. And this would greatly help to solve the Covenant balance problem too, because we are adding more choice and more freedom of choice. With this, players will be able to use whichever Covenant abilities they want, according to their playstyles and chosen specs. Because let's face it, never mind the simulations and the numbers, just think as it as the Covenant and class team. For example, priests are very fitting with Kyrian, but only as holy and discipline. Shadow is more fitting with Vantir, with the vampiric team. This way, when a priest changes specs, their Covenant abilities will also change accordingly and will both fit the fantasy team and playstyle a lot more. Also, with our previous change, when a priest specs Shadow, they may look like a vampiric Vantir priest instead of an angelic Kyrian priest. This will have two advantages. First, it will make players to feel like they are being empowered by covenants according to their class and chosen spec. Also, it will give players to feel that they are empowering their character themselves too, with their learned knowledge, earned power, and choices they make according to those. Because that's what will be actually happening there. Next, we will talk about anima and how can we make more use of Shadowlands' main resource. Yes, we all technically understand what anima is. It's basically the life force responsible to maintain order within the Shadowlands. And by its official lore description, anima is the essence of mortal souls that enter the Shadowlands. It's the product of all of the soul's experiences and actions in life. Great souls, good or evil, have a lot of anima, while those who have lived humbler lives have less. So, since the Arbiter is dormant, zones of Shadowlands are starved of anima, because of all of the mortal souls are pouring into the maw, and we, as heroes, help the Covenants by supplying them some with our efforts and actions. But this resource does not have too much use besides the unlocking of Covenant features or buying some cosmetics. Ironically, just as I have suggested for Covenants before, yet I will say something different here. We should make anima a more important currency and give it some power. Let's make it a universal Shadowlands currency like the good old justice and valor of the past, combined and enhanced. Let's call this Valorous Anima, because this is actually a kind of anima that has been gathered by our exceptional valorous efforts as heroes. So it's an extra resource for the Covenants, and so it shall be rewarded as such. We won't earn it in tokens. We will earn it as currency from every activity in Shadowlands. We won't bank it in Covenant anima pools. We will keep as much as we can as heroes and spend them with whatever Covenant vendor we want, and in return they will help to empower us so we can earn more anima for them, and when we are powerful enough we will have the option to give more anima to the Covenant we want to buy more rewards. So technically, and as player power effect goes, the Valorous anima will be mainly used to buy and upgrade our Covenant armor sets and weapons at first. Upgrade prices will be set, all same all the time. You will just need higher achievements to unlock the next upgrade level. First with Covenant campaigns, then with certain high-end activities such as Mythic Plus and raids, As we said, excess Valorous Anima will be used to buy cosmetic rewards and mounts, and additionally, you will be able to send it to alts. We should be able to buy certain packs of it from our Covenant vendors and send how much we want of it to our alts, like how Order resource was in Legion. Of course, this should not affect our weekly earned amount of the sending character, but should count towards the earned cap of the receiving character, to be fair and to prevent excessive grinding. This, sending currency to alts, can also be done with Honor and Conquest too. After all, alt friendliness is the key to happiness in WoW. Of course, while talking about the cap, we should have a progressively increasing Valorous Anima cap, and the cap should be increased weekly for catching up players and alts, just like how it is with Conquest and Valor. As we said, just like armor pieces and weapons, Covenant vendors should also sell upgradable necks, rings, and trinkets for Valorous Anima 2. Exact same logic with Honor and Conquest items. Only difference is these will also help with Covenant tier set bonuses. This way, we will be able to switch our legendary pieces more freely. Finally, Valor's Anima should be awarded with activities including daily heroic dungeon, weekly raid finder boss kills, unranked PvP activities too. It could also be awarded in scaled amounts according to the difficulty of the world quests from certain ones, like world bosses, and also once a day from rare mobs and such. You will be free to do any activity that you choose until you reach your cap. By the way, right at this point, I must mention Taliesin and Evitel's very nice Anima vendor idea too. Awesome idea to make it more useful and an attractive resource. I will link that in the description. While I'm mentioning the Covenant armor and weapons, let's continue and dive into that too. We shall also unify the Covenant armor tier bonus, same with all Covenants, so it won't have an advantage and make the default gearing system. How? Like this. After we start doing our Covenant campaign, we are awarded these sets, right? Let's make them leveling rewards instead, but not as items rewarded from quests. Instead, we will be rewarded with our new currency on the side, Valorous Anima. With this, we will start to build our set, and when we reach the end of the leveling experience and complete stories of all zones, now we will have a full starter set, equal to be enough to let you enter normal level dungeons. And if you do it with an alt and choose Threads of Fate, then you will be awarded a lower version of this set, and you will be able to upgrade it to normal dungeon level while leveling with other activities than the linear questing. In the end, Threads of Fate players will also reach the same gear level that will allow you to enter normal level dungeons at 60. After this point, we won't be grinding random gear anymore. The same items will of course drop from dungeons and other sources, but our main set will always be our Covenant set and items. And we will gather Valorous Anima to upgrade our main tier set. This way, we will provide a bad luck protection for players. Lucky ones will, with good drop rates, will always be free to replace their non-upgraded set pieces. however they want. But if you want to grind and keep doing the game activities, you will get to a point to have a strong armor set and a relatively competitive and useful overall gear. You will still have all the other options too, but this set and items will always be your backup if you will be unlucky with other drops and sources. Of course, to prevent imbalance, these Covenant armors and tier bonuses should be same for all 4 Covenants, only difference should be cosmetic. The sets and pieces should all be upgradable, up to Heroic Raid level, and Mythic Raid bosses should drop the only mythic versions of these pieces with their unique appearance and 2 more upgrade levels. Upgrade levels can be defined with your character progress. For example, you should complete all dungeons in Heroic, then get an achievement, and now your Covenant set upgrade level is same with Heroic dungeon drops, not higher. Then, in order, completing Raid Finder, Mythic 0 dungeons, normal raid, Heroic raid, and equivalent Mythic Plus level dungeons should also unlock that upgrade level for your set. This way, tier set like system would be saved, and Covenant sets would still be meaningful. This way, we will be affected a lot less by bad RNG, and we will have more meaningful grind reasons to play the game on every ground and level. This won't be all. With every next content patch, we should get a new Covenant set, weapons and pieces with new looks and new bonuses. First base set of the new content should be awarded with patch story introduction quests. This way, catching up players and alts would also start with relatively useful gear and get into the action right away. We all love and want our tier sets and bonuses involved since forever, right? Let's bring them back with the help of our Covenants. Alright, we're getting somewhere, right? We already made our Covenants a lot more attractive, their rewards more meaningful. Now let us focus on our renown with our Covenants. We all got allergic to reputations in previous expansions because they were gating a lot of things. Were quite infested with RNG with Paragon system, and because of all that, when mentioned the idea of reputation, that may give us a sour face. So, Renown has become the friendly face of Covenant reputation in Shadowlands. But I say, let's make our peace with reputations and combine these two to make the system more playable at the end game. Because we don't actually need a different and separate reputation system. Renown can be directly tied to Covenant reputation, and to make that look friendly, let's call that reputable renown. In this system, we will track it from our reputation tab, and since we will be able to work on all of the Covenants after our first character, that will be a lot more useful. Current system's Renown 40 will be equal to Paragon 20 reputable renown. It will start when we interact with Covenants in Shadowlands while leveling, and when we reach level 60, we will become exalted with each Covenant as we help them with their zones for the first time. Threads of Fate will directly make us exalted with each covenant, and we won't be able to advance beyond before we reach level 60. After level 60, advancing on covenant campaigns will reward Paragon Reputable Renown levels up to 9. After Paragon 9 and completing your first Covenant campaign, you will be able to work on all 4 Covenants with a single character if you want, as we told before, and in turns of course, one by one, according to your current second Covenant choice that you wish to help. You remember that, right? Beyond Paragon 9, there won't be campaign quests, so you will start to earn reputable renown from everyday activities, daily and weekly chests, etc. Completing 2 weeklies will award 1 paragon. Completing dailies will add 1 more. Mission tables, world bosses, and daily heroic weekly raid finder runs can also help to add 1 more. Twice the amount for catching up players and alts. So, what's the advantage to change it this way? With the enhancement and clarification, we will both see from which activity we can earn our reputable renowns and keep track of it easier. My main aim is there would be more incentive to do casual content for everyone. Imagine daily heroic and each wing of raid finder awarding both reputable renown and valorous animal. Then everyone would participate at least once, and more players would play together at every level. Also, while we're at it, I have 2 title suggestions too. I'm quite fine with Necrolord having Baron and Baroness, and Vantir having Count and Countess as titles. But instead of Hand of the Archon, I would propose Watcher for Kyrian, because this would be a lot more fitting for a hero character who's aiding to protect and watch over the Kyrian Covenant. A lot more fitting with their general team too. And also, it could be a nice reference to Ion Hazikostas, our good old Watcher there. And instead of Winter's Envoy, I would propose Lord and Lady for Night Fae, because we already have Baron and Count titles for other covenants. That's why this would be quite fitting. And also NPCs like Lord Hearn are already in the covenants, just like how Necrolords have Baroness Vash and similar NPCs. That team would also fit too. Now, with the titles too, we're mostly done with main subjects. But on the side, I have some stuff to suggest too, like how the covenants should be connected in the world, how we can travel, and similar stuff. First of all, in retail WoW, flight is a thing, and we should all accept it as a default means for travel, just like our normal mounts. We earned it levels and expansions ago. We have been flying in Azeroth since Cataclysm 2, so let's please give flight from the start of the expansions already, including Shadowlands 2. I'm all for exploring from ground at first, but it should not be for months. During leveling your first character, yes, it's very acceptable, but after leveling one character and learning all the places, zones, general story, then we should be able to fly. Same goes for Shadowlands 2. I say, when we reach level 60 with our first character and complete the first linear storyline of Shadowlands introduction, let us unlock Flight, account wide. I totally loved the zones of Shadowlands, and as I have tested in 9.1 PTR, they feel a lot more fantastic with Flight, and that should have been open right from the start. Also, we should be able to freely travel within the overall Shadowlands map. How can we do that without trying to make a new huge Shadowlands map? Covenant zones can be physically connected with some travel/passage points, like how it is with Ghostlands and Eastern Plaguelands. This approach would cover the in-between fantasy, but also connects Covenant zones too. That way, we would not be constantly phased out from the game's world with constant taxi times and in-between animations. While we're at it, to make our central city hub matter more, Oribos should be a lot more easily reachable from every point, without teleport or taxi, like how Dalaran was, hovering over Broken Isles. And yes, we should be able to fly to and from our main city, and inside Oribos too. Let's please stop stepping back from these things. We could fly in Dalaran. Nothing bad happened. It's just a practicality. We all have got used to it. Let's not take that away from players. By the way, during city design, if players were intended to travel at certain parts, let's not make those frequent locations hard to reach and dismountable. Let players do their thing there, get their quests, check their banks, then go into the real action and move on to actually playing the game, not waste time during traveling around. So, for that reason, I would allow players to fly everywhere in Oribos. It's a flying eternal city with quite high ceilings anyways. Would not ruin the fantasy at all. We can use the same portal loading tech, and when we float through Oribos portals over Covenant zones, we appear in that floating Oribos, just like how we see Ghostlands from Eastern Plaguelands and reach there after we pass through the door. Some simple shades and mirrors, and we can have our flight reachable central hub. That aside, while moving to Cortia with new content, we should be able to fly in the maw with certain restrictions too. There may be some flying mouse worn, blocking and defending some airspace. It would feel fun and dangerous. Also, after we unlock all of the 9.1 campaign, we should be able to fly in Cortia too. Same logic, same principle. We all know we can fly. Let's not cut our wings again and again. Oh, and as flight goes, I love the idea of Covenant flying mounts coming with 9.1. It's very motivating and nice, but how would it be if we could get a third Covenant ability directly related with this instead? I say, let's give these. For the Kyrian, we get Wings of the Ascendant, literal Kyrian angel wings. For the Necrolord, we get leather-stitched wings, connected with the abominable stitching theme. For the Night Fae, we will get fairy dust, and this will allow our soul shapes to fly, or air run. And for the Ventier, we will get Blood Glide ability. This will create a red Anima platform under our feet and we will be able to fly freely on it. It will look something like one of my favorite mounts, Disc of the Red Flying Cloud, and Mage class mounts, and also the recent Broker mounts, of course. They will have 1.5 second casting time and will also be listed in Mount tab. Once learned, other characters in the same account will be able to use those too, despite their covenants. So, what do you think? Wouldn't that be quite awesome? Yeah, it would. Now, physical connections and travel aside, as a final note, we have some other matters to mention here too. I won't get into the details of these because they are both changing and evolving systems and some deserve their own episodes even with my laziness. So, what are these related matters? First, soulbinds. First one is of course our covenant followers, our soulbinds. We could and should integrate these into our progress a lot more. We should take them with us on our adventures. They should give their insights and overall we should really bond with our soulbinds. Think it like the Legion followers who tagged along with us. We could take that further with soulbinds and we still can. Necrolords slightly have that with abominable stitching. You can mount some, find treasures, some can tank for you, so why not do it with all covenants and with soulbinds instead? It would fit the theme and fantasy a lot more. Second is connected with our soulbinds, our conduit and conduit energy system. Now this energy requirement is quite unnecessary here, and that's the common thought, I guess, everywhere. Let's remove that and let's level our soulbinds while adventuring with them to make them stronger instead, not us. They shouldn't be affecting our power that much, only during open world. We don't really need just another complicated system that would affect player power balance. So let's keep them out of it. Conduits too. They're fully random, very hard to obtain and not very practical. So let's either remove them altogether or just bind them with our soulbinds open world powers and utilities only. And if we keep the conduits, let's make them craftable and upgradable, like gems, but as items. So professions could profit from that too. I have talked about how I think our Covenant armors and weapons should be. So now comes the issue of how it would be in PvP. Would we need to farm these to be effective in PvP too? Ideally, we shouldn't. If players want, they should totally skip the level 60 plus endgame PvE activities. They should be free to do their gearing with just PvP only activities. Hence, an equal gear should be awarded from PvP too, like how Honor Vendor does, just equal to what I had proposed as Covenant armor. So PvE and PvP should be on equal grounds and should support each other instead of separating the two styles of gameplay. While we have brushed our gearing, our endgame gearing with our sockets, and more importantly our legendaries, should not be related with our covenants either. But maybe if we change the legendary effect system, like how Bellular awesomely proposed, Totally supporting that idea, by the way. Going to link that in the description too. Well, if we approach it like that, then Covenant vendors can help selling some for Anima for easier catch up. After all, they have some already, so we can turn them all into legendary vendors too, like how it was in Legion. Torghast is also whole another subject, and one of those that needs its own episode to talk about. But how it should affect covenants is a subject of this episode. I say it should be separate and be kept apart as a different endgame activity. But at a certain point, maybe we can allow our soulbinds to come with us in our Torghast runs. Treat it like open world like that. After all, we save some followers from Torghast anyways. So this may be a thing connected to that. Tank and healer soulbinds would greatly help with our runs, especially with certain classes and specs. Same with general MoAB idea too. Now in 9.1 we are getting Covenant Assaults, so let's bring our soulbinds to MoAB too, because it's only logical. While talking about our followers, aka soulbinds, our mission table also comes to mind too. It sure is a part of the game. Some love it, some hate it, but since it's there, let's make it more useful and fun. I say, since we are making our soulbinds matter more, let us tag along with our followers on some missions. We all skip the combat part of missions. Imagine if you could step in as their leader and change the course of the mission that is doomed to fail. For example, you are watching the progress of the mission. One of your guys is having a tough time and about to die. Imagine right at that point having the option of stepping in and healing your guy. Then get in the front line and help to defeat that tough enemy. Now, wouldn't that be more fun? If you are there, your guys would get more experience points and you would get some extra fun bonuses. Could be a nice side activity and it would make us more integrated into missions. They wouldn't feel like an automated process, but instead a more interactive and fun side activity. This goes with our covenant structures too. They have some good aspects, like unlocking certain elites quests, but they are very hard to unlock, and once you are done with that part, you don't need to or want to revisit that. We can make all of these things we have mentioned integrated with each other. Soulbinds, covenant structures like abominable stitching, and missions. We could let all these systems help each other and create a very nice overall Covenant daily activity fantasy. What do you think? Sounds cool, right? So, I guess with that we have brushed all side subjects too and talked about everything related with covenants. As I have said at the start, I want to thank all of the Warcraft devs again for giving us these subjects to talk about, to play with. If it wasn't for your awesome designs, I would not fantasize about their details like this. And I must clarify this while ending. I love the game as it is, and I really have fun playing World of Warcraft from all sides. I have leveled 4 characters just to see the whole stories of all 4 covenants. I progressed them all to Renown 40 to unlock every possible thing I can, and I can't wait for what's coming at 9.1 now. I'm talking these just as an alternative approach to give some what if ideas and to blurt them out from my mind. As I'm constantly saying, to make a game we all love a tiny bit better. So, that's all. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop your comments, ideas too. I don't know when the next episode will happen, but I promise you it will happen. Stay in touch on my social media. I will announce those. Until then, take care of yourselves, play all the games you want, and have a good time. I'll see ya.